Hi, I'm Alex, and I want to share with you what to bring with when you want to photograph a meteor shower. There's two meteor showers coming up, one peaking the night of July 29th, and the next peaking the night of August 12th. Meteor showers are awesome because there's an opportunity to photograph a shooting star every couple of minutes. Some of these showers will have 20 to 50 meteors an hour streaking through the sky. And it's pretty easy to do. Literally, any camera will work as long as you can control the shutter speed. But of course, mirrorless or DSLR is going to be preferred. As long as you can set the long shutter speed, you'll be good, but interchangeable lens cameras are preferred because you'll want to be able to use a wide, fast lens. A wide, fast lens, like this Nikon 24 f1.4, will make it a lot easier for you to capture the meteors because it lets more light in, meaning you can capture fainter meteors, and it'll be wider than your typical lens, meaning you'll be able to catch more of the sky. And since you don't know exactly where the meteors will be coming through, you want to be able to get as much sky in the frame as possible, allowing you to get more opportunities to catch a meteor. So another great lens is this new one from Venus Optics. It's the 15mm f2. This is great because this is even wider than that 24mm lens while still being relatively fast, especially for a lens that's this wide. Every manufacturer, though, has a good option. Typically, you'll find something like this 24 f1.4, but third parties like Sigma or Venus Optics are producing even wider, faster lenses. I know Sigma produces a 14 f1.8, which is another great option. I will definitely link in the description below some good picks for every major brand, and if you don't see your brand down there or want an alternate option, just sound off in the comments, and I'm sure I know one that would be a good pick for you. If you order now, I think that you'll definitely get it by the August 12th date, but if you have fast Amazon Prime shipping, you could probably even get it for the shower that's coming up July 29th. When it comes to tripod, you will want to have one. You don't absolutely need one. You can get away with propping the camera up on a beanbag or something, but a tripod will give you more flexibility in aiming the camera at the radiant. The radiant is where the showers actually kind of get their name. For example, the Perseids originate from the Perseid constellation, and they appear to all kind of streak out from there. So if you want to get the best chance of getting those nice long streaks, you'll want to aim slightly off, maybe 40 degrees off of that radiant. And the tripod will give you more flexibility if it's going to be higher in the sky or lower in the sky, to actually track that radiant as it moves through the night and really get the best chance of capturing meteors. But if you literally have nothing more than a beanbag and you can prop your camera up on it, you can make it work. One additional piece of kit that you'll want to have is a timer or intervalometer. This is a piece of kit that lets you set your camera to shoot repeated frames time after time. And that'll be important because when we talk about technique in a second, you'll understand that it comes down to shooting a lot of frames, hoping you basically get lucky and catch a meteor in your frame during that time. And an intervalometer means that you don't have to sit there, be clicking away. You can instead appreciate the meteor shower too once your camera is set up. So definitely check that out. These are pretty cheap. They make them for all the different brands. One thing you want to keep in mind is what they actually connect to. They are specific to different camera manufacturers. For example, this is one for my old D810 and uses a Nikon specific port. Others will go over USB or some sort of port specific to your camera. So make sure you pay attention to which model you're actually getting. If you have a newer camera, oftentimes that can be built in as a software feature in the camera. So just Google your camera's model and intervalometer and see if any results come up. I know that some of my newer cameras feature it, and it means that I don't have to carry this along with me, but you can instead just set it up in the camera's menu. For a few extra pieces of gear that you'll want to consider bringing, gaff or painter's tape will be a big help. When you dial in your focus on the stars, you don't want it to move, and taping it down with just a little bit of tape on the lens ring can make sure that you kind of have your focus locked down all throughout the night, because you don't want to discover halfway through 500 shots that you bump the ring at some point and all those shots are now out of focus. Since I mentioned 500 shots, you're seeing what the next piece of gear is, which is spare batteries and memory cards. You're going to be shooting a lot of frames, and if it's cold out, especially if you're not in the desert like I am, you'll be burning through batteries, you'll be burning through memory cards. So make sure you bring plenty of both. Lastly, for electronics, bring your phone. There's a lot of great apps. PhotoPills is one, but there's numerous others that will help you identify where the radiant is going to be, what the moon conditions are going to be. Just a really useful tool out in the field to help you plan your shot. This is one of my favorite flashlights. This is a Skill Hunt HO3. It's just a right angle light with a really low light mode. It's only like 0.1 lumen. And that makes it a great headlamp for when you're out hiking and want to preserve your night vision so that you can operate the camera, see the stars, but still need to see where you're going. And since it comes as a headlamp version, it keeps your hands free to work the camera, do anything else you need. Lights like that are awesome. They really beat like the old mag lights or anything. That uses a rechargeable battery that lasts forever. And then one last thing, which I actually never need because I am out in the desert here, hand warmers. But if you are in a colder climate, you'll want them because your lens will start to develop condensation on the front element. And taping a few hand warmers to kind of the front portion of your lens will help keep the air around it warmer and prevent that condensation. So now that we've covered gear, let's actually talk about how you want to set up your camera once you're out in the field. There's going to be 3 essential settings you're going to have to change: aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. And each of those 3 needs to be changed to give you the best chance to catch stars. The aperture is going to be your first setting to change, and that's going to be set as wide as your lens will go. That'll give you a better opportunity to catch the faint meteors and the stars without having to really crank your ISO and get a lot of noise in the frame. Your shutter speed can't be too long. I'm going to put a chart up on the screen right now that is going to show you what is the longest shutter speed you can go based on your focal length and sensor size so that you won't get any star trails. You don't want to get star trails because that's going to make it a lot tougher to blend your frames in the post-processing step. If you have to kind of try and distinguish between what's actually a meteor streaking through and what's a star streaking through, it's going to be a tougher time. So don't go beyond those maximum shutter speeds. For your ISO, that's going to vary based on your location and the shutter and aperture that you selected. 1600 should be a good starting point. It'll be a fair balance between not being too noisy but also not being so dark that you're going to miss some of the fainter meteors. Once you get those settings dialed in, take a few test frames. If it's too bright, you're going to want to reduce your shutter speed a bit. That means that if you step down the shutter speed, you will still be able to catch the faint meteors, but you'll have to end up taking more frames. And if it's too dark, once you've maxed out your shutter speed based on the fastest possible speed without getting star trails, go ahead and start raising your ISO up a little bit. You won't see the noise so much in the individual meteor frames, and you can either shoot 1, a very low ISO frame at the beginning, or 2, stack all of these frames that you shoot using a program like Sequitur, and that will let you reduce the amount of noise present in the image by stacking those images all together and kind of averaging out that noise. It's a really cool technique with a lot more applications beyond just meteor photography, so let me know if you want to see a tutorial on how to stack using that program, or even Photoshop itself. Once you get those test frames dialed in and you're pretty happy with the results, go ahead and set up your timer and just start shooting. It's really a numbers game. Hope that a meteor comes through your frame and you'll be good to go. The one big thing I would say is, just from personal experience, don't try and chase the meteors. When you see one coming in on the right, don't turn your camera to it because the next one is always going to come right where you just had your camera aimed, and it's just going to be frustrating. Pretty much just set it up and lean back and relax. I hope you get one in the frame. Really, it just comes down to luck at that point. When you're all done, you're going to take all these frames together and you can stack them together in Photoshop, masking out the parts of the image that you don't want to use and leaving in just the individual meteors. You can combine those together into one composite image that looks awesome to show off. It really captures the feeling of being out there seeing these meteors coming across the sky. And if you have one great frame with one really strong meteor, that works too. You don't even have to do the stacking. But the stacking gives you a great option for getting all those meteors in the frame at once and really capturing the feel of it. So I hope you found that information helpful. There's a ton of great options for shooting meteors regardless of skill level, camera gear. Anybody can get out there and have fun. It's even a great thing to do if you're the photographer in the family and want to bring other people along with you. They can still get appreciation out of it too. They don't have to be into photography. It's just a really cool experience. So go out, give it a try. I think the Perseids coming up in August will have a bit of a full moon, so it might not be the best opportunity. But this one peaking the night of the 29th is another great chance. So give them both a try. Hope you get some clear skies and some good meteors. Good luck. So I hope you enjoyed that guide. That's actually the first video going up on my YouTube channel. I've been a writer for F-Stoppers now for a couple of months, and I've loved having the opportunity to share my love and knowledge of photography with others. So if you want to stay tuned for more guides like this, make sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments what you'd like to see covered next.